Greetings. This video is about making a flavored mead. I've been making mead for about 20 years, and I have another video on how to make mead, and I'll put a link below for that video. This particular video was inspired by John Townsend's video, who used the book The Art of Cookery Made Plain and Easy by Hannah Glass. This is not a medieval manuscript, but is actually from 1805, and it's considered a revolutionary classic in American cooking. The recipe that John used was to make raspberry wine. Now, I copied from this book the same recipe, but rather than using wine, I'm using it with mead, which is in essence a honey wine. And I've made flavored meads in the past, and I personally prefer just plain mead rather than methcalin, which is a spiced mead, or any of the fruit-flavored meads. However, I was intrigued by this recipe that I saw John Townsend's make on his video. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to try that with my mead and see how it turns out. So here's the recipe. Take some fine raspberries, bruise them with the back of a spoon, then strain them through a flannel bag into a stone jar. To each quart of juice, put a pound of double refined sugar, stir it well, and cover it close. Let it stand 3 days, then pour it off clear. To a quart of juice, put 2 quarts of white wine, bottle it off. It will be fit to drink in a week. So I did that process, but instead of putting it in with wine, I put it in with my mead.
Rather than just mashing the raspberries, we actually cook them on the stove, because that's a technique my wife Judy uses when she makes sauces and jams with berries. So we put the sugar in the raspberries and then cook them a little bit to get the juices out, mashing them with the back of the spoon as indicated in the recipe. And then instead of using bag to strain them, we used more modern technique using a strainer to get the juice out. The juice was very clear and dark purple. It looked really good. And then I mixed that raspberry juice with the wine. The recipe said to use 1 quart of juice with 2 quarts of wine, so it's double the quantity. So I used 3 cups of juice with 6 cups of mead to make this recipe. And after mixing it together, I bottled it and put it in the refrigerator and let it just kind of sit for a while to help develop the flavors. There's also raspberry wines available commercially, and you can buy these. This particular one is called Berry White, and it's a berry wine made here at Superstition Meadery in Arizona, and it's a very popular.
So here I'm going to try it and see how it tastes. The color looks good. It looks like a light red wine color. Not a burgundy, but a lighter one, almost like a sangria color. It's very sweet because in addition to the mead being made with honey, the raspberries were mixed with sugar, and then the mead was added in. So it's very, very sweet, but the flavor is great. I can still taste its mead. I know this is mead and not wine because the mead has that background flavor from the honey. And I can tell this is mead, but the raspberry is probably the predominant flavor with the sweetness, and then secondary, the mead flavor. Might be a little too sweet for some, but I'd give it a thumbs up. Very good. Thank you for watching.